Be okay, I will call this meeting to order. Lake Cam, we're good? Excellent, I'll call this meeting to order. Due notice having been posted, 6:31. Roll call, please.
Steve Owen.
Here.
Gene Fox.
Here.
Sherry Barron.
Here.
Robert Clark.
Yep.
Derek Gracious.
Here.
Laura Ramsden.
Here.
Will Sinkwit.
Here.
Stephen Sylvia.
Here.
Anyone recording? We have Lake Cam, just Lake Cam this evening recording for the meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Showing my age a little bit, this is always the meeting that I have an Al Haig type moment where I can seize the piece, but I'll choose not to do so. The first order of business is the reorganization of the Freetown-Lakeville Regional School Committee for the 1920 school year. I am looking for a motion on the floor for the position of chair.
Move to nominate Gene Fox for chair. Second.
Second, Mr. Gresham. Discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It is unanimous. Back to a similar seat as in line with the regional agreement.
Yep.
Chairperson Fox.
Thanks so much, Steve, for stepping up and ably chairing. We always, the last few years have been kind of a co-chair situation. It's worked out really, really well. The communication's been exceptional, and I think we've worked well together. He hasn't had to yell at me too much. So it's been pretty fruitful and productive. So thanks. I expect us to continue in this same way. So we have to do the rest?
Yeah, do the next
Where
order
is
would be
it?
the vice chair.
Do we have a,
Yeah, we do.
where is it? What does it look like? There it goes. Thank you. Probably right at the top, too. Okay, I'll entertain a motion for the position of vice chair.
Move for Steve Owen.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstention? Unanimous. Nominations now for secretary. Are we going to, go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, I move that we keep all of the other committees and positions the same as we have right now, unless a member objects to being on a particular committee.
The only thing about that, I'm sure
chair.
Mr. Sylvia would be pumped. He's not.
We're not excluding you.
Well, we can certainly add him to as many subcommittees as we would like to.
Derek.
My term ends this year, and I'm the clerk, and I have to certify the vote, and it's kind of awkward when,
that's true.
I don't know if you know that, so it's better to have somebody that is in the middle of their term, because, you know, if I choose to or not choose to run and not get elected, then technically I'm certifying a vote that I'm not on the committee
you're not,
to do.
yeah.
So we should really have somebody that's kind of in the middle of their term, I'm thinking.
Okay.
I think it'd work better. It's happened before, though, that a committee member, his term has expired and had to
It
certify a
has.
vote.
I remember that. Okay, let's go here. Are you interested in any committees in particular?
That's a great question. I'm interested in everything, obviously, but policy seems to be a good fit, and then I could probably pick up where the holes with the former member could be.
Okay, I didn't, interested was the wrong verb. I apologize, of course you're interested in all of them. So we could add you to the policy, which you'd be a great add there. I always take help on the evaluation committee.
Sure.
Okay. Then, so other than the clerk, I'm sorry, Sherry?
I am not able to be the delegate of the MASC this year because I'm going to be away during that conference.
Okay. So things are getting a little, not too bad. So we still need the delegate and we need to find,
Well, you can keep it as long as you use the alternate. Mr. Clark's
yeah, we
available
do
as
have
the
an alternate,
delegate.
so, okay, skip that.
Well, do we want to clear
Let's
up
do the clerk.
district clerk? And
Yeah, let's do the clerk.
I'll nominate Laura Ramsden as the district clerk since she, in the start of her election.
Yeah. Is there a second? And there's a second. Okay, is there any discussion? And I'm sure you are okay with this?
I'm okay with that,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you. All those in
I'll send
favor
you the letter.
signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? Carried unanimously. All right, so that, and I need the treasurer. Do I have a
Yeah, I have
motion?
no,
You're okay?
yeah.
Okay, I need a motion.
Is it Will?
Yeah,
Yeah, I make a motion for Will,
Second.
treasurer.
motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Will.
Yep.
Okay. And we keep our, yes.
Yes.
I thought I was a secretary this past year. I signed for Ashley, and I signed some things. Bob, have you had any work?
Have you been
as part of the
secretary?
Yeah,
Have you been signing things too?
I'd have to look back, but yeah, yeah.
Keep it for Bob, it's fine with me, I just,
Oh, we can go to Sherry.
no, we're gonna leave it with, right there with Bob. Thank you.
We'll provide Renee an updated sheet for the next meeting.
All right, but everyone, there's consensus here that Robert Clark stays secretary. Okay, so so now we have to go down to the subcommittees. Let's look at them. Warrant signing, is staying, or anybody recommending any changes? No. Policy, Steve indicated an interest in joining that. And the rest of the subcommittees okay? And then we have collective bargaining, which is Will and Steve.
Good year to stay on that.
Yep.
Yes. Yes, yes. And the evaluation subcommittee, you graciously agreed to step up for that,
Yes.
thank you. And regional FinCom, you two are super. Okay, so with just adding Steve to those, making a note that Sherry is unable to attend this year, we could move on that.
So why don't we just make him the delegate and me the alternate?
We can do that. Just switch them up. So we'll do that.
Is that okay with you, Bob?
It doesn't matter.
One
If you
attends,
don't,
one
if you don't show, then
he goes.
Make the adjustment.
Do we need to formalize that, or?
You can make the adjustment.
All right, so I see 3 adjustments. Steve is added to the policy subcommittee and the evaluation committee, and then we're going to rotate the
Delegate and alternate.
conference delegate and alternate for the MASC November. Is there anything else? Okay, let's move on that. Do I have a motion?
so move.
Motion.
And second? Any
Second.
further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? Carries unanimously, we are reorganized. And I scribbled all over your sheets, too.
Yeah, that was yours. Yeah.
It was?
Yeah.
Oh, I knew that. Public participation. Anyone here for public participation? Okay. Minutes. Minutes.
Because I do,
Go ahead.
if I may, Chairperson, I do know that at least one board member had expressed, I know we did decide not to place it as an agenda, but I didn't know
We did.
if there needed to be any discussion on that item.
Yeah, I think.
Go ahead,
well,
Will.
Sorry, thank you, Madam Chair. I just think, just at the time of reorg, I think it makes sense to just discuss the placement of public participation on the agenda. In my 10 years here, I've seen it towards the end, I've seen it at the beginning where it is now, I've seen it kind of move to the middle, and I just wanted to throw it out there, just for discussion. I know our meetings are usually empty chairs. I don't know if that's because of where public participation might be, if people can't get here in time. Maybe move it to the end of a meeting. I know we don't want people sitting around waiting to speak.
That's the problem.
But I think it was worth at least a discussion with the reorg, given the circumstances of a couple meetings ago.
Certainly, yes.
I was just gonna note, in my 5-year tenure, we've done before, after, and both.
Yep.
We actually had 2 placeholders to kind of address the issue. Recommending that, I'm just saying that it has been the case where it's typically a limited number. We
Right,
had an
well-
opportunity at the beginning, and those who couldn't make the beginning or
It
wanted
is.
to capture something that comes up a little later, we had it towards the tail end.
Whatever
Certainly the-
happens in public discussion must be an agenda item,
Yeah.
first of all. The other thing is that everybody on this committee is very available, and we always invited the public to contact us individually, and we can follow through that way as well, and that certainly happens. Excuse me. Oh, she made it back. Yes, Steve.
And also, the chair does have the
Has
discretion
some
to take any
discretion,
public
correct.
feedback throughout the session, as long as it's on the agenda. The only advantage that I see having it up front, the committee members can actually hear concerns, especially before a vote. So if we wait till the end, we don't hear of any concerns that may be brought up by the public in that case. So I know it's not perfect, but that's my, sort of gives it the advantage over having at the end of the discussion is more of you hear feedback in case of a vote perspective.
Good point. Derek?
So I know most of us have been on this committee a long time, and we've had this issue come up over and over again. Various superintendents, so I've seen it exactly the way Rick has through many superintendents, this way, that way, and we try. I mean, I think the effort has always been there to let the public participate. I think what's important to note is, just to recap what Jean said, I always like it in the beginning. I thought it was great. But we've always allowed the public to always participate on any agenda item. Every chair that's ever sat here has allowed the public to participate on any agenda item. Again, it has to be on the agenda. That's part of the public meeting. So I don't see a problem the way it's structured now. If I don't think it's broken. I do hear what people say, and I understand the public shows up and they haven't been here and not used to the process, so there gets to be frustration. But it's always been, we've always allowed public participation. And to Steve's point, before we've taken votes, we've had people come up and talk on issues, so that hasn't really prevented us not voting without allowing the public to speak on an item. So I don't see a problem where it is. There's always going to be an issue on this topic. We've had it for many, many years.
Well, maybe we need to address it more frequently in our meetings. Yes?
Yeah, just to his point, I don't think the empty seats have anything to do with the position of public participation. If you have a hot enough issue, and I can think it back to when the pool was a big issue, I mean, the lecture hall was full. So the position of it, I don't think is responsible for not having a big attendance. You have a lot of individuals that come up sometimes with a personal agenda. When it comes to something that impacts the entire community, they come out no matter where that's listed.
That's true. Anybody else?
And I'm certainly fine wherever it falls. I just thought it may warrant a discussion at this point. I'm
Much
good.
appreciated.
I'm good wherever it falls.
But let's also just remind people that everybody on this committee is accessible and responsive. And if an issue that is raised by a member of the public to an individual member of this committee warrants actual meeting deliberation, it will be brought forward in that manner. And then they would be part of that discussion anyway. So, yeah, I think you're right. It's nice to talk about it because we don't want anyone to feel we're not listening. But I do want to stress the fact that everybody does listen and does so respectfully and carefully. We do care about public input. We also can't let it take over meetings. Right. We have a lot on every agenda. We all know. A lot of us are yawning by the end and glassy-eyed, but we get the job done. So with that, I see I have public participation up here. If you could please say your name and let us know what agenda item you wish to address.
Crystal Ng, CPAC Chair. Just public participation.
Okay.
If it has to be on the agenda, the beginning doesn't really make sense. And I only say that because wouldn't it be something from the last meeting that you had? Why not have it in the middle? Or why not have it after every meeting? Because two people are here today. I mean, that would be something that, you could just put on it, public participation, if it has to be on the agenda. Does anybody have anything to say? And it'll probably be me and somebody else, and no.
Well, again, as I think you heard from several folks, we've tried it kind of in all different places.
Oh, I'm sure you have. I'm sure you have.
If that's not working for you, contact any one of us and tell us what we can do to help. because I don't want to see, I think there's consensus on this board right now that we want to try to keep it at the beginning, but we don't want to cut anyone off either. So if there's something from the previous meeting that's a concern to you, certainly reach out. If there's something on this one, to I think Mr. Owen's point, and it was reiterated by Mr. whatever your name is, Gracia.
You got it right.
Been a long day. Having public participation post-vote could be problematic. If we've already taken a vote and deliberated and come to a conclusion, then the public input isn't necessarily weighed. Derek?
Just in response to that, we keep a rolling agenda, so if an item needs to come
That's
back up
true.
on another agenda, it always can. It doesn't mean it's a dead issue. So if there's something that you contact the board about, the committee about, and we feel it's not been addressed, it needs to be on the next agenda, it could get on the next agenda. So it doesn't mean because it was in that meeting, it's gone forever. It could get resurrected and be addressed at the next meeting. And that's happened quite often.
Right, no, I just, it just seems awkward to have it at the beginning. But obviously, it doesn't seem like it's going to change, so.
No, not for the time being. I think we're going to try to keep it this way, but we do encourage you to reach out anytime you want. If you feel like you're not being heard, we want to know.
Well, I will reach out right now. I would like to offer a meeting between the CPAC and anybody on the school committee. Members of the CPAC have, shall I say, expressed lots of interest in meeting with members of the school committee.
Okay. That didn't need to come out in public comment. Honest to God, that could have been in an email. We would have addressed that as well. That's good news to know. I used to attend.
No, I think it needs to be in a public comment.
Fine,
Because
it is
since it's a
now.
public meeting and I
It
can
is.
speak my mind, and I've had many people email me and many people call the central office about different things, I think it's time for us to meet with the school committee.
Okay, and we will record that information and try to figure out something. I know they have regular, yes.
Mrs. Fox, I'm sorry. I was just going to
Sure.
simply add
Just
in
for the
report.
record, we have attended CPAC meetings.
Oh, I know, I know.
I'm not sure if I did this year, but I
No.
certainly have with
Nicole?
Mrs. DeTerra.
Yeah.
I think Laura attended a number of them also.
Yep.
So we have been attending, I guess lots of meetings, and we haven't attended one this year perhaps, or I haven't.
No, Will has. I've met
in your
Will at a
packet-
meeting.
And in your packet,
yeah.
there's an informational item that identifies when the next CPAC meeting is,
Yes.
which is May 7th.
May 7th, but it's also a presentation. So I wouldn't want to interfere with that presentation. So whenever anyone is available, and I will reiterate it in writing to the chairperson to set up a meeting with us.
That's perfect.
Okay?
We can do that. Thank you. Yes, we have something very important to take care of right now that requires tremendous deliberation. It is Administrative Assistance Day. And we happen to have a star performer. So we have a little something for you.
Thank you.
I want to thank Mrs. Barron once again for spearheading the effort.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you for everything you
Thank you.
do, Renee.
Yes.
You know, if we could do more, we would, but we'd get in trouble with the ethics people.
No, that's not camera.
No, we are very grateful for everything you do. Thank you so much. And happy Administrative Assistance Day.
It's a coupon for brownie mix.
Oh!
I'm on it.
He has to have his brownies. So now we have our presentation to the school committee. We have both of you here tonight.
Acceptance of minutes.
Oh,
We do
I
it after.
forgot the minutes. I need to go home and go to bed. So I need the minutes of the 3rd of April. I have a motion
Second.
and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
I have to abstain on that.
Yeah, okay. Yes, and it's, so, as I was saying,
ARHS band and choir students participated in several audition music festivals this year. Alex Parent, class of 2022, sang in the treble chorus at the SEMMEA Junior District Music Festival. 4 students participated in the Semper Senior Music Festival. Jonathan Abbott, class of 2019, Grace Kudo, class of 2020, and Kara Marshall, class of 2021, sang in the chorus, and Ethan Fahey, class of 2019, played in the concert band. 3 class of 2020 students, Erica Correa, Karina Jacobson, and Grace Young, sang in the treble chorus. Congratulations to our own Mr. Ledwith, who conducted the concert band at the Semper Senior Music Festival. Students in Mr. Rice's horror fiction class toured the Lizzie Borden house in Fall River to coincide with the book, The Borden Murders, Lizzie Borden, and the Trial of the Century. Students were intrigued by the information gleaned while on tour. Students in Miss Lippincott and Mr. Terra's English class saw a performance of Animal Farm at the Zeitirian Theater to complement their reading of Orwell's classic novella. Congratulations to Robert Pacheco and Gabe Villeneuve. These 2 students have been selected to represent ARHS as members of the Fall River Municipal Credit Union Junior Advisory Board. Congratulations to Clay Munier and Sophia Goucher. These 2 awesome student athletes were nominated for the coveted Dave Cowens Achievement Award. All 37 nominees were honored at a reception for nominees and their families. And journalism students participated in a FaceTime Q&A session with broadcast journalist Taylor Kinsler, who is an Apponequet alumni and current host of NBC's Connecticut lifestyle show, CT Live, who offered her advice and insight on securing internships, maintaining professionalism in the field, and creating opportunities in a competitive environment.
Our grade 10 students took ELA MCAS. Students worked diligently and completed the first computer-based grade 10 ELA MCAS in 2 sessions. We thank our students for their concentrated efforts, and we also thank the teachers and families for their support. Math MCAS will be held in late May. ARHS's first ever salsa cooking event was a huge hit. Chef Antonio and the folks at Cafe Azteca in Lawrence provided a tasty and informative opportunity for community members. Thank you to Mrs. O'Brien for making this event happen, and thank you to Cafe Azteca. The Visual Arts Department proudly presents its 6th annual ARHS Art Show. Friends and family and community members can attend this evening reception and view works of art from all the visual art classes, including Art 1 through 4, Advanced Placement Studio Art, Mixed Media Art, Integrated Art, Digital Art and Photography, and Art of Healthy Living. This will happen tomorrow starting at 6 to 8. Students in Mr. Rosa and Mrs. Irwin's class visited the Newport Car Museum. They were honored to have the owners of the private collection, Maggie and Gunther, welcome them when they arrived. Their personal explanation of why they created the museum was inspirational. They welcomed our art and business students with excitement for the cars as a work of sculpture and for business to promote the cars. The junior and senior prom is taking place on Saturday, May 11th at Luciano's Lake Pearl, Rentham, Mass. We are looking forward to a safe and enjoyable event. Grade 12 wellness students attended an annual field trip to Sky Zone Trampoline Park in Kingston, Mass. The purpose of the trip was to promote alternative forms of exercise. The trip was divided into 2 parts, where the first one, students participated in a 30-minute SkyFit class, and in the second were able to have free time on the trampolines. Class of 2019 members received an important end-of-the-year packet just before April vacation. Information about graduation and all culminating activities were included in the packet. Please access a copy on our site via the email sent to all parents' guidance in earlier April. Also, we still have MCAS tutoring for math and bio.
Excellent. Lots going on, busy time. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
gentlemen.
Good job, gentlemen. Good night.
Okay, class size, transportation report, old business.
Graduation is, by the way, that June 7th. I don't have the dates already. It's a little bit, I'll be supplying some information. So. Class size is just a continuation of our monthly reports. You're probably as much interested about the incoming K numbers, which are not reflected here. We continue to monitor them and obviously are prepared to take necessary action within our budget for next year. But you see the numbers reflected. There aren't dramatic changes from January, as you can see, through April. It is interesting to note, though, we had some significant numbers since the October 1, where you do see about 17 or 18 students that you can anticipate coming into the system across the board. It does appear we have a little bit, you notice the elementary schools, though, you do see an uptick in elementary school students coming in, where you see kind of a balance at the secondary level. The next report we'll have is the bus transportation, and obviously we continue to monitor the incoming census projections for kindergarten, which remain high, anecdotally, but I'd be happy to answer any questions. There aren't any much more detailed compared to last month, but continue to monitor. There's a lot, I mean, these are the tough things to judge and balance as you build a budget, depending upon the needs of the students that come in. We do have school, I should add, since it's not necessarily on this item, we have 21 applications for school choice.
Actually, no, now we have about 24.
Okay, so we had some after the deadline that do come in, that get placed on waiting lists. They understand they haven't met, so if you recall, we identified 20 slots, and a lottery is slated for next Friday. The process right now ongoing is that principals and school administration are reviewing those packets to see if they're appropriate acceptance. They're taken in order of which they came, and if there are more, obviously, there are more students than seats, we conduct a lottery on the day of the Friday. Parents have been informed of that information. Those parents that have come in after the deadline were informed that they run the risk of, and just from a general perspective, as a school choice district, once and you took the action of voting school choice, we currently have 70 students, you remain a school choice district. So although the deadline is established to report to the state, we've already met that deadline of June 1st, you can make adjustments in school choice at any point. So you can accept students that later. Obviously, we're real hesitant to do so as we get closer to the school year because of the impact on class size and programs and so forth. But those numbers are not reflected in this. That's more projected for 20.
Just from a future meeting perspective, I think when we originally presented the numbers, it was based upon the original recommendation for class size and teachers at the intermediate school. Do those numbers need to be adjusted now that we're back to?
The original number?
Yeah, I believe we had 0 at the 5th grade as a recommendation for school choice.
We could make an adjustment. This board, if you recall, did not take action on the parameters.
But does that, if we don't have to do anything, I guess great, but do we need to do anything?
The board does not have to take any
anybody
action. You've taken the action of identifying yourself as school choice district. I can make note on the website to update and let people know that there are some seats available. I mean, and Renee points out something. The fact that we have a deadline does not preclude people from continuing, and I tell them, listen, the application's there. You can fill out the application, we note it, we stamp it, and it will go onto a wait list. But so we could certainly do that in 5th grade.
We do have some.
That came in anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, we have to act on it.
The board does not have to take action at this point because you didn't actually vote on the seats per se. You just voted on being a school choice district.
Okay, now we're on to the budget status report.
Just a continuation from our previous reports, nothing to report really on FY19. We're hoping to maintain status quo until the end of the year, and we're almost there to June 30th. I've included the assessment sheet that I've included in the packets previous to this. If there are any questions, please let me know.
Questions for Ashford?
Just an overall, at this point, we're still, as of today, on target for that roll over the 125 number that's built into this operating budget?
Correct.
We may come back to a couple items on 19 when she talks about 20. Maybe a couple of accounts that she wants to reference when she gets a little bit later on down the line. When we talk about the articles and also the FY20 budget, there may be some references to some additional information on 19.
Okay. So on to new business, we have the calendar. Already looked at this.
Yeah, the committee's had multiple opportunities to see this. We built in the meeting dates, but you have yet to vote and take action on. All you're taking action on tonight would be the school committee meetings. We've already accepted the calendar.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstention, motion carries. Also under new business, the town warrant articles, and we got there pretty quick.
So in your packet are the Freetown articles that we proposed. You received Lakeville's in the last meeting, so they're not included here. Lakeville did receive 2 of these articles, one for the engineering study for the Grays boiler, and also the second article for if there is a replacement or repair that came out of the study. So that does not have a cost associated to it right now because we do not know what that cost will be because we haven't done the engineering study. We have heard feedback from the two boards that they're not comfortable moving forward with those articles because we do not have a dollar amount right now, which we understand. There is an estimate that we received from one vendor that's approximately $100,000 for a full replacement, but that we think is going to be the top end, and we don't know what the engineer is going to say. Bob Souza has reached out to an engineer. The cost would be up to $10,000. They do not think it would be any more than that. They're actually coming to Grays next week to do an assessment to give us a quote and see if we want to move forward on that.
So as the board knows, to piggyback this information, which was already in your packet, we attended a joint meeting tonight in Freetown of both their board, selectmen, and finance. We actually sat in on multiple meetings. Finance committee was meeting, so it was timely. We got there a little bit early, thankfully, and sat down. They did vote to support the regional FinCom. The FinCom in Freetown did take action, formal action, to approve the two security articles, which the Board of Selectmen had already indicated that they supported at a previous meeting that we attended. But they also took action on the study, up to $10,000, which was positive news tonight. So Freetown's Finance Committee, the Joint Committee looked at it and captured what Ashley shared. I think everybody kind of under the same impression. I'm not so sure we disagree with them, which is you really don't know what the study is going to provide as far as direction, so it's a challenge to, and I get, and at least from my perspective, I understand the town being reluctant to go to the higher number and then have that money sitting there. They were pretty positive in the conversation tonight and actually stayed for some additional questions, even though it was afterwards, so it was helpful that that was the case, that she did stay for a couple extra minutes. But it was, the security, no issues, right? They supported the first phase, which is already done. Second phase, which we hope to have done this summer, in addition to some security here on campus. The study was a real positive piece. People understand the need to do that. They did ask that if in fact the study were to be done prior to town meeting, and we had a definitive number, that they could then take formal action, which potentially begs the question, do we want to take a look at that? The way it's built in now, we're waiting on the study contingent upon funding from the towns. And so I know Ashley has some additional information. If there is consideration that the school department wants to take on the study prior to that to establish this, we could do that, right? And we can make some decisions regarding articles to remove something, withdraw.
I think the ultimate concern is the timing of the project.
Exactly.
Yes.
So if we move forward with the study, you do the study, and then we have to wait for potentially another town meeting in the fall, which ultimately may happen.
Right.
But then now you're looking at next summer to try anything.
So to potentially alleviate that thought, Ashley and I have had a couple of conversations potentially about considerations for this board or actions that potentially could address that concern, and so we could have that information.
Two options I think that we have. It's not budgeted for the FY19 budget, so I don't suggest taking it out of the FY19 budget right now. We do have the option with a little bit of cushion in E&D. It's a one-time item. We could take it out of E&D, that's certified of the 218. We did have those insurance claims that we processed over the year that will be certified next October, so we can't use those funds right now, but they will be put into E&D in the fall. So that's an option. Historically, you've also received a request from the finance director in June for an adjustment with ComRec. So I could make that request earlier if we want to go ahead and use those funds to pay for the study.
Question, so those are a couple of mechanisms by which we could entertain a study sooner.
I think this is a good use of E&D funds, knowing that there is potentially certified a greater amount in that, right? So if we were just at the 218 and there was a risk of not adding any additional, I would have a concern with going into E&D. I would hate for us to lose on this project because we're waiting on funding of a 10 grand study, up to 10 grand study, because if we can get that true number and add that to the town meeting in June, that may be a better time frame to address the issue, whatever addressing the issue is.
Derek?
This is part of the lease agreement, correct? Capital expenditure over $5,000?
It's here on campus. It's not one of the elementary schools, so it's not
That's
applicable.
correct. Okay, you're
That's
right.
So it goes to the regional
Right,
agreement,
that's
which
right.
means we,
Yep. Okay.
Well,
Okay, so.
the expenditure is split between these two
Right,
towns and the
right,
assessment.
right. No, yeah, right, you're right. I was thinking a little differently. So I'd have to agree with Steve. I mean, I think this is okay. I mean, I would hope in the cooperation of the town, you know, seeing how Freetown is, I'd hope Lakeville would kind of follow suit. And, you know, we kind of anticipating that. It'd be kind of a little disappointing had they not, but the cost is minimal and the timing is essential.
Right.
So I don't have a problem with, you know, saying, all right, let's go forward. We are rolling the dice that ultimately we, that 10,000 should Lakeville decide not to move forward. But, I mean, I really can't see us holding back at this point, to be honest with you. I'd hate to get into the winter and
Exactly.
have an issue with this boiler.
Yep.
I mean, I was at an event here, I went to, the Wizard of Oz here, and the boiler had to be shut off that night.
Oh,
Rick was here, the boiler was shut off the night of the Wizard of Oz, right, because they were having issues with it, at this building. So, you
yeah, we
know,
don't need that.
so we
Go
should-
ahead.
Just further information, while nothing formal, there have been conversation with the Board of Selectmen, the similar concern about an open-ended article, which
Yeah.
totally get.
Yeah.
But the result of the study filling into that, they would support the addressing of that boiler. So I don't think there's any issue against it, while they haven't formally voted for it, because there's no number for it. So,
They could do an up to 10 on the
yeah.
study.
I would, I'll put a motion to support, well, is there anything else that needs to be added to that?
I am not sure if we have to if we do the vote tonight, if we can do, so I have to have the vote from the school committee to have funds released from E&D, and then I also have to bring it to the towns. I don't know if I can formally take that action tonight or not. So
As
it might
whether
have to
we could
be-
do a vote, or,
So I'm not sure.
Okay.
That's my concern, is I don't know if you can formally take action tonight I didn't prepare for you to take action tonight on it.
we'll have an agenda.
If-
I
Okay,
think you may
then
have
we'll
to come
just
to
do
our
it.
next meeting, which would be May 8th.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's
We
fine.
can do it then,
Yep.
right?
I see
And
no
then I'll
objection to
prepare
that.
the towns also in these conversations and let them know that we're planning on taking this vote on the 8th, and then I will be providing them the information.
That was gonna
correct me
be
if
what
I'm
I
wrong, I don't
asked, make
think-
sure they know.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think the 8th will preclude the activity from happening, them coming down anyways, right? That
No, I
it's
don't-
not gonna
no.
delay.
No, the vendor's still gonna come out to do the scope of work, and we'll be able to proceed. Just with the funding, we'll know even how much it will actually be for the
Right.
study.
Correct me, we were talking a little bit today with the director of facilities, we're talking about a 2 or 3 week timeframe.
That's his
to
hope.
do the,
To do
do
the
it?
study, and then a week to write the report is his hope.
So
We'll know
that-
more on Tuesday when the vendor's here.
Okay.
we shared that with the FinCom in Freetown, who felt then if it came that week of the town meeting, then you would be able to have a placeholder of either what, the article exists. You could put
Well,
it in there.
and when we were there a week ago, we reminded them that it's a schedule issue for us, you know, we have to be, I think they got that, understood that. I mean, I think we can, we'll put it on the next agenda,
So
we'll
it's
have the
I think consensus,
conversations.
we'll have it up.
Okay,
The other thing I would do is if we could, because we don't have a formal action from the town of Lakeville, if we could reach out to them to let them know what our intention.
I think that's what she's.
Yeah, well, sooner rather than later,
Oh,
I didn't
definitely.
want to wait till May 8th because of the
No.
fact that I think they're in the process
We'll let them know,
of-
we'll both, let
We
both
want, still
council-
want that placeholder for the, and
Correct.
Yeah, I want to skip that step.
We'll let them know what the intent of the board is on the 8th.
Okay.
Chris is the,
Is that it for the articles then?
and
Yes.
we don't have any additional items, simply just informational. The highway department in Freetown did have an article to pave a portion of the school parking lot. We did not present it, the highway supervisor did. It was not approved tonight, I'm just making you aware of that. They didn't say it wasn't necessary work, but when they looked at the priorities of security and left open the question of the boiler potentially and the cost, they felt that they should put it on hold or push it out a year. They just make you aware of that. We didn't bring the article forward, but obviously it has an impact. I didn't say that to them, but if I had a choice of which elementary school I'd like to see some paving done, I think I would have flipped it, but I didn't think Freetown wanted to hear that, so
No,
I
and the
stayed.
highway surveyor was adamant that it needs to be done.
And that's,
He
they
was.
asked me the question, and I said, I can't speak, I mean, I have to trust the highway to make that judgment. Obviously,
So
I
they
want to see
both need
the
help.
pavement done, so.
Maybe we'll get a deal.
So just in case you, as a Freetown residents that are here, if you see that article, it was not an article that, and we made it clear that we support the article, but we did not present the article. It came from the highway department.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Now we're into the budget vote.
Ashley did provide for you what the action would be. We made it clear tonight to the town of Freetown as we into that, to Lakeville, that in all likelihood, the board would potentially take action tonight on the budget as presented. Ashley provided the town with the adjustment, the assessment.
So, and I also included in your packet, there's an updated assessment sheet with the house numbers on it. I've also included the backup of where I got that information from. Changes from the prior assessment sheet, the house has done a $30 per student instead of $20 for chapter 70. And then they also put additional funds in chapter 71, the regional transportation. All of the other amendments got voted down by the House on Monday night, so they're moving on to the Senate. We'll see what happens there.
So the assessment sheet was a couple of sheets underneath the
Yeah.
articles, you know, the new adjusted. Didn't come out quite as nice and with no color on the black and white, but she did highlight and have color copies so they could see the regional transportation adjustment, the chapter 70 adjustment, and then obviously the reduction to both towns, both Freetown and Lakeville see a reduced assessment without a change in the school budget. Didn't get a pushback, actually. I don't mean to make anecdotal comments. They did not take formal action, but we answered any questions they had. And there did not appear to be
When I
a whole lot
stayed
of
back,
opposition.
I was also able to walk through the assessment sheet with the selectmen and also the FinCom, so they were able to understand where the changes were and how the math kind of works going down the sheet. So
Good.
I think they were more comfortable with
Good. Anybody have any, I mean, we are ready to vote. No?
The order that we have to do the vote. We do spending less salaries first.
I'm not sure. Is there a specific order?
I don't believe so. I'm not.
I don't know
I don't know
either.
what's historically
You
been done.
haven't no inkling.
I think that all that matters is I have to, the vote that I have to participate in, as long as
Yeah,
I
as long as-
participate in the
yeah.
vote that's not including salaries.
I don't think there needs to be
that's
a requirement that the order be.
I'll make a motion to approve $40,120,610 in total spending for FY20 budget.
Have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
And a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstention, motion carries.
I'm gonna abstain.
I'm sorry, yes, Derek would abstain.
And we
Alright.
needed to, I would have voted differently, but I'll abstain. Not meaning about the total number, we would have had to break it out differently. Just to be clear. Just to
What
be
did we
clear.
miss?
We'd have to break it down differently, but.
I'll make a motion to approve $17,393,939 in spending for FY20 budget. This is the breakdown of the taking the FY20 salaries out of the total budget number. So it would leave us with a balance of $17,393,939.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions, motion carries unanimously. And
Mrs. Fox, if I may, I just would also just point out the, both boards indicated, although I don't have any dates, that the intent of both finance committees and boards in each town are to meet as early as next week.
Sounded like the regional, I'm sorry, the finance
FinCom
committees were
had-
meeting on Tuesday.
I haven't seen agendas as it relates to that, but the FinCom in Freetown indicated they believe they're having a joint meeting with Lakeville FinCom on next Tuesday, is what they said. And then the Board of Selectmen waiting to hear, in Freetown, we're waiting to hear back. Again, we'll keep you updated as we actually get meeting dates. We basically said that we would be available. Obviously, we haven't set up a regional FinCom too, which is the mechanism by which to take action there, so. But we'll wait and see. Again, there was no formal action taken, but as we get information, if there are meeting dates, we'll get them out to the board.
Okay. No, I hadn't heard anything about that. So now we're on to reports to committee.
Actually, do you have any additional?
I don't have an additional report.
You sure?
We did have a meeting with Select Energy today,
We did.
Oh.
so we are looking at some potential,
Possibly some solar panels at Freetown Elementary. It's the one school that we could do any kind of solar work with. They went over to just do an inspection of the school to see where we benefit from having solar.
On the roof?
Well, they're looking at the roof, but they're also looking at the parking lot.
we're not sure that the roof can handle it because of the age of the roof, which is 20 years. And so, but we want the study, or at least the look at there, and then you're looking at parking lot type of modules. They're also going to follow up with the town administrator, because obviously the town of Freetown, right on the same parcel, is looking at a big project.
That's
And if we
right.
can somehow combine
Just gonna
that,
ask that question.
the
Well,
potential's
the
there.
parking lot configuration, which they've done at BCC and
Yeah.
several other places, is awesome, because it serves as a shelter.
Yeah, so that is what they're looking at. So as you're on the ball field side there, the baseball field, that would be where you'd see that piece. We are gonna get some information in the coming weeks. The director of facilities, along with Ashley, we met. As you know, Select Energy, we had a partnership, or an attempted partnership with them
that's right.
here for the campus.
Yeah.
Didn't work out, but we have with Eversource a little bit different option there, and we do actually benefit from some credits already with the town of Freetown as it relates to solar, but in a different piece. But I just want the group, and so often I know this board, we're just trying to let the community at large know that we are, and we continue to look at revenue as it relates, but also looking at energy and different options. And
And that's
today's another
green
example.
energy too, you're not burning carbon. So,
So we'll keep you updated as we get some more information.
We're also waiting to hear back for 2 grants that we've applied for. One, we should hear back by Friday, which is for the security upgrades for 4 out of the 5 schools. So we're just waiting to hear back from the state, and then also for the Green Communities grant for the high school. So once I find out, I'll let the board know.
And those are things that we have not done in the past. So again, continue to push that, which is often a question as we get to town meetings, what else are you looking at? And there are a lot of
Right.
options.
yeah, and it's a reasonable question, Steve.
Can I go back to, you originally said we had a quote for the Gray's boiler.
Yes.
Did they indicate the amount of time and the impact to the building?
It was just specifically for the,
There's a lot
Well,
of
that's a
things
good
that happen
question.
at
100%.
Gray's, so there's a,
I wasn't, I was going to
Yeah,
continue to
yeah.
move on that topic. I know we were all very excited, and I'm in full support of the idea that the summer is the ideal time. I can at least think of one director who
Well, I think
might.
we all- Which is
why I was asking the question early.
That was done well.
Disagree. I chose not to bring it up at that time because it was a little premature, but.
sorry, I wanted to rip the Band-Aid off this.
No, we actually had that conversation because we would obviously have to take a look at the impact potentially, because there would be an impact to that site relative to the multiple programs that are there, potentially.
Got it.
But we didn't want to go there quite yet, Mr.
No, we do want to be vigilant on that too, because
We've experienced that, as you recall. We
With the
actually had to
pool.
make some moves around with the pool, so
Yeah.
stay tuned. As we get more information, we obviously have to be aware of that, but at the end of the day, if it's a heating issue, we're gonna have to address that before the next winter season.
Well, the
right?
first thing to find out is how long do they need to
What's the
disrupt us?
duration?
Yeah.
Right, that's question
And then
one.
double the time frame to.
No, I say the longer something takes, escalation kicks in, the price
Yeah.
goes up, make them do it fast.
I think it should be duly noted that Mr. Owen was the one who brought up the summer time frame.
That's fine, I will definitely do that. And I think we should also incur Bob's idea of the last contract, if they can't by a certain date.
Penalize them.
Exact penalty.
Yeah, we'll absolutely have to take a close look at the
Yeah.
time frame.
And along with the Green Energies grant, there was a great write-up in the newspaper about what has transpired, in particular at Assawamsett. And I'd like to see if we can bring in Nate Darling for a quick 10-minute presentation to this body, because the numbers, we can't argue the numbers of the energy savings, a 43% reduction in the energy consumption at that school. And they can, so they're great numbers. I think we can sort of, what is the dollar associated with that? And I don't think we're all going to be agreeing on that, but there are some savings to that. And I'm excited the fact that we're applying that to the high school now. How do we, Lakeville's a green community. I know Freetown is re-engaging that conversation. Don't know where that's going to go, but I think it's a great story that this full body should hear, especially from Nate as far as the 2 projects they've done and then the energy savings they've done and what they calculate as cost saving, but we can go through that. So I don't think it has to be long, but I think it'd be a good, quick 5-10 minute.
I have no problem with that. I think it's a good idea. There's always
I'll have Ashley
room
do it.
for improvement.
Ashley can reach out to me.
Yeah. Good point. Okay, now, since you're off time, we'll move on to Dr. Correa.
Just an update. As you know, I've been working with the Social Emotional Learning Committee over this year. So today we had our last meeting of this year, and I just wanted to provide you an update on some of the things we've been doing. We've really been looking at the 5 competencies of social emotional learning, and we've done a lot of professional development, as you've heard me say, with the different speakers coming in and training for staff. And the next step is we are going to have on May 7th, Soraya Gomes come, and she's going to do something for the community, for families. So a one-call notice did go out this week from the schools, inviting parents and family members to come and hear Soraya Gomes. And she's going to talk about those competencies and give examples to families that have to do with students and adults alike, because a lot of her message, which is very interesting, is how adults can model for students those social emotional strategies. For example, looking less stressed and not sighing and doing some of those things we do as adults automatically that your children pick up on, right, and feed off of. So she's got a lot of these different strategies for both families and for students. And she's going to come during the CPAC meeting. And that's what you heard this parent express as a presentation, but we're hoping that we draw a larger crowd than just our CPAC. The other thing that the committee decided today is, one of the things we've been talking about is for next year, we'll be coming up with a menu at the high school and for the elementaries, K through 8, where there are 10 things that you can just do to improve the social emotional learning and culture of your classroom. And they're going to be asking teachers at the beginning of the year to choose 1 or 2 things to try to implement in the classroom. So we're trying to start small so as not to put too much on teachers, but just pick 1 or 2 of these things that you might be able to implement next year to make a difference in the climate in our schools and our classrooms. And then the Social Emotional Committee will continue next year. The teachers who are on the committee today expressed an interest in staying on, so whoever is in this position hopefully will continue to work with that committee, because I think the groundwork has been laid and there's just more to do now. The next thing is the DESE has that tiered focus monitoring audit that Liz and I have been working on. She's doing the special ed piece, I'm doing the civil rights piece. It's due May 15th. I can give you more information once I've submitted everything. There's a lot of documentation that goes into that, and a lot of root cause analysis and looking at our data from athletics and our data from AP courses, and there's just so much that goes into that we're working on right now, and hopefully it'll be done by May 15th, and I can share some of that with you as well. Strategic planning. We've done some work over this whole year. I can't believe how quickly it has gone by, but we've done a survey to staff. We've done a survey to school committee. We've done a survey for parents. And then I've done focus groups with curriculum leaders, focus groups with paraprofessionals, and then I've asked each of the principals to do focus groups with their school councils. All of that data has come back to us, and as an admin team, we've been looking at that data and deciding on what our vision should be and what we call 3 buckets, like what are our 3 main priorities that we can see from all the data we've collected. We've done that work, and now it's time to bring in more of the stakeholders to help us refine those 3 goals and put them into some action steps and a timeline. There's a committee that's been put together. I would love to have a school committee member represented on that committee. If possible, are you volunteering, Steve?
Yeah, I would love to.
Okay.
Awesome.
That would be great. So I put the dates here and the times. We do have a couple of parents on the committee. Robert and Aiden are our student representatives from the high school, so they'll be on the committee as well. And we're hoping that we can get this draft finalized before the end of June.
It's been a pretty aggressive but exciting year. We've had, and I give Marlene a ton of credit for facilitating this whole process, and we certainly, if Steve's interested, it's great. Other members are certainly welcome. Sit in on sessions, or even if a day of the three that works for you. We certainly would encourage that, and happy to do that. We're going to be having those meetings, Marlene, here.
Yes, here in the group projects room.
Excellent, thanks. Great. If anyone else gonna go, it'd be great. Tough time.
You don't need to make that determination, but you can let
Let me know,
Marlene
that's
and
fine.
myself.
Yeah.
Right. And if anyone else wants to contribute to the survey, the school committee survey, I can send the link out again. I think I only got 2 responses. So if you'd like, I can send the link out again, that way you can have
Nothing wrong
some
with that.
say.
Nothing wrong with that, thank you. That is exciting, this whole strategic plan,
No,
it's really good.
On target.
And last but not least.
Last but not least, so a couple of items to follow up on, and Dr. Correa did steal my thunder on a few, so those can go more quickly. Transition, I'm very happy to report we've scheduled all the transition meetings for students who are stepping up to a new school, either through pre-K to K, and then elementary to Grace, and so forth. Interesting, we had about 75% participation rate, which I thought was excellent. And these meetings are going to be conducted for the next 4+ weeks and concluded probably around Memorial Day. So we've got a lot of families coming in to see the next step in their child's education. Special Olympics, I think you know that we are headed as a district team on Friday, May 17th. It looks like we're going to have about 25 student participants. The final count is due in a few days, but about 25. And a big thank you to the PTOs who have sponsored the Freetown-Lakeville t-shirts and also pizza for the party that follows and the award ceremony. This week's Superintendent's Corner, you also see a breakdown of the timelines for the different events for the students as well. Parents and community engagement, CPAC, the next meeting is May 7th, right here. Thank you to Dr. Correa for arranging Ms. Gomes to come, and I'm hoping that we're going to have a robust discussion a way that families can support some of the work that's being done in the school around social emotional learning.
Through Liz and Marlene, they've asked that the principals send out one-calls to their entire schools. So we are, although we're using the vehicle, the CPAC, the hope is obviously we can generate even more interest.
Yeah, that also appears in the Friday Superintendent's Corner, and also Dr. Craig did a lovely flyer which has been submitted to CPAC and will go out with students as well. Lastly, on CPAC, we'll be discussing the CPAC leadership for next year and discussing the election to have parent leaders in place for the next school year. In terms of the other updates, the tiered focus monitoring, we're in the special ed component of that overall larger audit. It's going well, and we will be submitting an update to you with some of the different findings after we submit that on or about probably the second meeting in May. We've also working on Indicator 7, preschool children with IEPs who demonstrate improvements in some certain areas. We need input and entry data for that. That's due at the end of June. A brand new audit, which is new this year, the Educational Stability Audit, which covers programming for students who are in foster care or homeless to ensure equity and access to educational programs. That's also due in June. We are finalizing our extended school year staff by Friday, so we'll have positions and people ready to go for the July 8th program. And last but not least, we had Meredith Foy, our pre-K administrator. She left for her maternity leave early. So Ashley Boulay is graciously doing all of the elementary transition meetings, which were scheduled, and I am handling the bulk of her elementary team meetings in her absence. So, lots going on. And finally, the out-of-district enrollment update.
Mrs. Fox, if I may, so just at this time, just I hope what I would share with you, and this, after hearing these two reports, is like a good umpire for any sports fans, you don't really notice a good umpire, right, until they make a bad call. A lot of this work that these ladies are doing behind the scenes are really what make our school system so solid and incredible, and allow me to do my visible type of piece, and where I often get credit and are able to get to activities. It's because when you look at, I'm kind of floored that they're containing the amount of work that they're putting into a paragraph when they talk about the audit and some of these things. So I just want to echo the hard work and the piece and the support staff that are helping them to be sure that we're in compliance. And like good umpire, you'd know if they weren't doing their job, because the state would let us know if we were not in compliance or not addressing the needs of students. So it's challenging, it's not always, but it's time consuming. You know, I speak to Marlene and Liz and certainly Ashley with the budget piece, which is kind of in the forefront, but some of these other topics which maybe don't carry that fanfare would carry fanfare and probably be putting people in the seats if they weren't doing a great job with this work. So I just wanted to make note of that.
That's important to know, and thank you. I think we all feel the same way. We know we have incredibly competent people, and we're grateful for that.
Thank you.
Okay, subcommittee updates.
I like the way how we haven't captured it. We just said subcommittee updates, and I don't think it was intentional. If you recall, remember we kind of limited the last meeting because we were trying to limit it to the budget, and then we haven't added, so we actually
I
didn't
see
list
that
them.
it's a little, yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
And I
Well,
don't
on
think we're gonna
superintendent evaluation, I have nothing.
Regional FinCom, we have not. We had to postpone a meeting.
No, the plan is, there was town budget meetings,
Right.
what have you, so that just, we still plan, and I will say anecdotally, but we haven't taken formal action, the town representatives have been supportive of the budget. The towns are looking at their funding mechanisms for that, so the plan is hopefully before our next school committee meeting, we'll have a regional FinCom to do that.
Policy was also postponed because of the
Yeah.
joint meeting as well, so there's no update there.
So no update on policy.
Okay. So, looks like, before we do.
The other business, I just would like to note and recognize Mr. Clark, who was at our senior breakfast this morning. We had a very good turnout. Mr. Clark, wouldn't you say, in Freetown?
Yeah, I would extend thanks to Andrea and all of the cafeteria staff. I counted 34 people.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And that was very good turnout. They had the sign out front on the lawn, which I thought was helpful. And I guess we're doing a better job at getting the word out. Plus, you had a beautiful day.
That did help,
And
yes.
I did have seconds.
You did?
I did.
I'm telling you. So
And
the Lakeville
you-
one's coming up. You going to that
Lakeville,
one?
yeah, that's right. Lakeville next Wednesday.
Next week.
Are you going to that?
Yeah.
Good. That's great,
Second Thursday.
that's wonderful. Thank you for launching that, because it is taking off. So we do have an executive session?
Correct.
All right, so then we need a motion for, well, somebody can make a motion.
It does indicate we'll
We are
return. It may
returning.
be simply to adjourn, but we've left that open,
Okay.
option open.
All
I'll
right,
move we go into executive session for reason number 2, to conduct strategy sessions and preparations for negotiations with non-union personnel, director of curriculum and/or central office staff, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions for contract negotiation with non-union personnel. We will return to open session.
thank you. Second, okay. Let's do it.
Steve Owen?
Yes.
Jean Bott?
Yes.
Sherry Barron?
Yes.
Robert Clark?
Yes.
Derek Grecian?
Yes.
Laura Ramsden?
Yes.
Will Sinkwit?
Yes.
Yes.
A week ago, a week
Nice.
before.
We're back in open session.
Back in open session.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
So I hope you guys enjoyed.